First, I want to hear from all of you. How does my audience feel about eulogies? How do we stand at it? Who's for them? Or yourself? Yeah, yourself there at the back. Yeah. Just 1 second. I'll just get a mic. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I think they're a very important part of the ceremony. I had to give a eulogy on my wife's funeral, and it played an important part because she was sick for a long time, so we got to thank people who had cared for her, but also gave us an opportunity of explaining, like, she may have lived if she had had a donated organ. So it was an opportunity to remind people and people who loved her to have that conversation. So it did play an important part.
How would you have felt if you had been told it wasn't allowed?
I think I would have been fuming. It was a very hard time, obviously, because it was unexpected. But it was something that she had discussed. Like, we had campaigned for her. She needed a kidney, so it was something that she would have pushed for while she was here. So it would have been really hard not to be able to give that speech.
Okay, thank you for that. There was some hands were going up here. Yeah, I'll just come to you in a moment. Yeah, yourself here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very important part when somebody dies that they have a say in the funeral. And I think at the moment, with a scarcity of priests, a eulogy can be very efficient and very well done. Obviously, there has to be rules and regulations attached to it, but I think it's a very important part and it gives consolation to the family.
Okay. I think I have a Josephine. Is that yourself there? Yeah. Just 1 second. Yeah.
Well, what I feel is when we gather in a church for the funeral of anybody, right, we don't come to praise them, we come to pray for them. So that's my thinking on that.
So you would not be in favour of eulogies?
I wouldn't, and because I've had so much experience of eulogies, and it's, to me, the majority that I experience, without going into graphics, it's like as if I'm going to a show in the Gaiety, or have been at a show in the Gaiety, because it just turns into...
What do you mean by that, Josephine?
Pardon?
What do you mean by that? Because
they just go over the top. Now, not everybody, admittedly, and I'm not going to give examples. I just better not give examples here, to be honest.
No, you'd better not.
And then I would hand it to I would definitely leave it to the priest.
Okay.
To be quite honest with you, I would leave it to the priest to deliver what should be delivered.
In your own case, would you like a eulogy?
Under no circumstances.
Okay.
And I have already said I shall be, whenever my day comes, I'm going to just have it invite only.
Okay, Josephine, you're very clear on that.
Before me. Okay. No, seriously, I would not like it at all. I know myself, my good and my bad. So I don't need anyone to stand up on the day of my funeral. Let it be my son, my daughters, anyone belong to me, and tell the congregation how great I was, or because I'm not going to tell them how bad I was. So I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks for that. And I know, Derek, you wanted to get in as well here, yeah.
I feel I'm basically against eulogies, but not totally against them. I believe that we should always remember, if you choose to have a funeral in a Catholic church, it's first and foremost a religious ceremony, and we must always respect the sanctity of the altar. And that means giving it to the priest, leaving it with the priest. I'm not totally against if it's done in a respectful way, but quite often, as the Lifeline discussion went into, it's not done in a tasteful way. The idea of disrespectful music, etc., can also be an issue at funerals.
Have you been at funerals where there has been?
One or two, yes. I have read at a couple of funerals where there has been a different type of music used, yes.
Non-religious, but
non-religious.
I mean, some secular music can be quite appropriate, no?
Yes, and perhaps that's what we used to use a wake for in this country. Again, we have a separate, we must remain separate. If you're in the church, it's a religious service, it's a sacred place, and we must always remember that.
Okay. I think I might have somebody who might agree with you there. And I know there's other people who want to get in, and I will come back to you again. But I want to bring in Father Vincent Stapleton now. How are you?
I'm good, yeah.
Just what was said there, that it's a sacred space, and we should remember that. Like, you allow eulogies in your church.
Well,
sorry, you should tell people you're in the parish of Thurles.
I'm in the parish of Thurles, and I'm a curate there, so it's above my pay grade to allow them or not allow them. But they are permitted once the final prayers, the prayers of commendation, have finished in the church. A eulogy is permitted, and you know, we usually would engage with the family over the whole ceremony, and you know, it is one of the privileges of my job. It's a difficult privilege at times to meet the family and chat about their loved one, and I would usually say to them then, look, if somebody from the family wants to say a few words at the end, you can do that, and we just ask you maybe to keep it roughly about the same length as what I'd be saying, which I'd say would be 5 to 7 minutes or so, and to script it. And in general, then, people are quite respectful of the sacred space. Like, our cathedral in Thurles is a beautiful cathedral. There's a big arch over the altar, and I often remark to people on the arch, it says on it, Domine delexi domus tue et locum habitionis gloriae tue. Lord, I love the decorum of your house, the place where your glory dwells. And anyone who comes into the cathedral is just like, wow, this is a space where God has given honour. But I think, like, the vast majority of the people who deliver words, and as someone mentioned, they give thanks and they say some nice things about the family member and how love is active in their life. And I mean,
and I think we've all been to a lot of funerals at this stage of our lives, and we will know that the vast most of the time. But
yeah.
You've probably been to more funerals than the rest of us. There are occasions, I know you've told our researchers that you did have concerns.
I would have times where, I suppose, as this gentleman said, the decorum of the house isn't honoured, not very often, and usually it's not through, I think, willful reasons, but just people tend to not be used to the public space and go on for quite a long time. Maybe once or twice the use of bad language, and I can make this light now. I played a hurling match a couple of weeks ago, got a belt on the thumb, used a bit of bad language. Because it was a dirty belt, really, and the referee said to me, if I said that in your church, how would you like it? And I shut my mouth then, because I wouldn't like it. I mean, the house of God...
But have you had those words said in your church?
Yes, once or twice, yeah.
As part of a...
Yeah, and I, like, my own personal...
As part of a funeral service?
As part of the words at the end.
Right.
And my own personal feeling, I'm sitting there and I invite up and I say, you know, generally it's apprehension to start with, and usually my shoulders relax when I see that there's only 1 or 2 sheets and the person presents themselves well, but when I see like a pack of cards coming up, then I'm like, oh, and the burial, and you have people in the graveyard waiting, and that causes me concern. Or if somebody starts doing a tangent or goes freestyle, then I mean, we've lost control and anything could happen.
There was a mention of music.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I kind of think about this in terms of the categories of the sacred space, like our cathedral, which, you know, is a space where God is glorified, and then the secular world. And I do feel like the mindset of many people has become secularised, and we all know that in Ireland, really, it is a kind of a fact of life. But that does come into the space then, and I mean, I've had an occasion where I would encourage, particularly in weddings, that they respect sacred times like the distribution of communion. But at one stage I did have, when I asked them to have a religious song, Knocking on Heaven's Door by Guns N' Roses. I've also had Shania Twain.
For communion?
For communion at a wedding now. So I really make a point of asking them to respect the religious elements there, yeah.